Her company is called Phoenix Recovery Group, and after hearing her story, I think she's lived that name more than she probably even realizes. This conversation is about building and rebuilding and leading through change and uncertainty, and what it really takes to earn not only trust of your customers, but also your employees in an industry that sometimes is built on the opposite. My guest today is Vennesa Gamboa. She's the president and CEO of Phoenix Recovery Group, a family founded debt recovery company based in San Antonio. She spent over 24 years in financial services and leadership, and in 2020 stepped into the role of CEO during a moment of real transition for the business. Since then, she's continued to build something pretty special, a company known for loyalty, consistency, and leading people well. Even if the industry doesn't always get credit for that, this is our conversation with an incredible leader. I'm excited for you to tune in and hear more. Her experience and takeaways are true gems. You don't want to miss this episode. Like, subscribe, leave your comments below, and enjoy. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Gathered Glow. Thanks again for tuning in. Today we have an amazing guest on who really represents, I think, not only what it means to persevere in leadership, but also how to remain considerate of people and the process and the experience that they have in business. And so I really am so glad that we have Vennesa Gamboa on today. Hi, Vennesa.
Hi.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I am thrilled that you're here. Similarly, I feel like my career in property management for many years um, was something that I didn't intend to get into, but fell in love with. And so I know that most people don't grow up dreaming of a career in collections. So, how did this industry find you?
Yeah. Yeah. How did it find me? That's a great question. It actually, it fell into my lap with my marriage. Yeah. So my ex-husband was the CEO and one of the founders. Myself, we have another co-founder, and Frank. He was the previous CEO to me. So yeah, it was an endeavor that we as a family started. Chris is his brother.
I love that.
Yeah.
So many times I hear people's journey in their career, and I think the dream that we all think at one age, when we're kind of younger, it transforms, and it's the connections, the people that you can really grow something with, and who that really helps to open doors and new possibilities that maybe we wouldn't have thought of initially at the age of 12, um
Absolutely, absolutely. I think, well, I started in working for a very large credit union in San Antonio, and that was actually, I was, heading towards climbing that corporate ladder.
yeah.
And we made a decision as a family to try something. My Frank and Chris come from a background of entrepreneurship, so they are big starting businesses and very good at it. Um, so it actually worked. Chris was one of our first agents. Frank was the one that had the vision and started the marketing and the sales, and I came in as the administrative assistant to them and just doing all the work that goes behind the scenes to get the business up and running.
Yeah, I think being an administrative assistant for so many people in their careers at different points, you have to learn the ins and outs of that business. You kind of get a little piece of everything. You're
Yes.
ingrained. And so, I mean, I'm not entirely shocked, but I think it is pretty amazing to
Uh,
see, you sharing that it was those kind of moments of learning things and helping that
yeah.
maybe led you to step into the role of CEO.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
what surprised you most as you stepped into that role?
Just the responsibility, the
Yeah.
accountability, just the vision. that you have to have your purpose and knowing why you're running the company and who you're serving as you're running it. To me, those have been very profound um, learning experiences that I've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you tell me more about that? Because I think I hear so much about really being understanding of like the employee and customer experience, the experience that people have with you and your organization. Where did that kind of spark come from?
Yeah. So we've been doing this almost 25 years, and I think, oh, and I could go along with the other partners. When we started this, we had a vision of not wanting to be, obviously we want to be a successful firm, but we also wanted to have, we wanted to be different. We didn't want to be your traditional, when you talk about collections, it can be somewhat of a bully form, or it could come across as of aggressive tactics. It's funny, when I tell people, oh, I run a collection agency, or, oh, don't come knocking on my door. I hope it, hopefully you're not coming to me or calling me. So, there's that negative persona that people have of the debt collection industry. And really, the vision has always been the same. It's just trying to have not such a negative tone on it. Nobody, it's not a job that everybody wants to grow up to be, like what
Yeah.
you're saying, but it is a skill, and it takes certain individuals to do that day in, day out, and I'm very proud that we have agents who love what they do, love coming into work, because, they don't look at it as a sense of, an aggressive tone. They're looking, what we've created, the environment that I've tried to instill is, we want to show compassion and empathy to the individual on the other side of the phone. They've gone through a hard patch in their life.
Yeah.
We all do. What we want to be able to do is hear them out, listen to what they have to say, build a connection with them. And usually, if we can do that and we're successful, then they'll be able to want to work with us. And then it's a win for everybody. We get to satisfy the client that, was obviously feeling like something was, they have some funds that are due to them. They're just wanting to come to some kind of resolution. And then we want to get the consumer at that resolution level just so that they can put it behind them. So just trying to make it a positive transaction and not one that has to leave a bad taste in the mouth, so to speak.
Yes, and I think it's powerful moments. Like it's not ideal. If
Mhm.
somebody is hearing from collections, we know that there is a maybe an immediate reaction that they
Sure.
might perceive, right? And I think it's really important that people are treated well, no matter the circumstances, right? They're already probably facing some life, maybe circumstances, and a little kindness absolutely goes a long way. I mean, your company is known for like a reputation of loyalty and tenure amongst your employees. What is your secret to both that retention piece and also hiring and having people who know how to display that empathy and that compassion that you were sharing about?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, because that is one of our greatest assets is the employees. They're just loyal. I think what we've tried to create is like a work-life balance. They have families just like I have a family, just like the other co-founders have families. So
Yeah.
we're just wanting to make it a family environment. We also, we're smaller agencies, so we care about the people that want to come in and show up for us every day. We want to do the same for them. We want to be able to help them out when they need some assistance with, whether it's, just making sure that they feel that they're valued, I think has been the most important thing for us. Taking care of them,
Hmm.
they're the front line of everything that they encounter with the job. So it's just important for them to feel like they have a place where they can come in, and it can be stressful. It can be, highly it can be a stressful position. So we just want to make sure that they know, okay, that's, you can walk away for a few minutes, you can take a breath. We appreciate the work they do, and, just again, just try and create a positive, fun environment for them, not to feel like they have to meet. Obviously, we want them to meet their goals, but that's not the primary drive. The primary drive is making the contacts, making the connections, and just hearing what the other what's on the other side of that call. That's the most important thing, because we see that being true results.
Mhm.
After they can make that type of connection on a phone call.
Wow. Okay. So I
Mm.
mean, I feel so my background is in learning and development, and I've worked with a lot of different organizations. And so I'm a firm, true believer that your employees are your greatest asset. I really do believe the way that you pour into them, how you invest into their ability to learn, and just them as an individual, right? Realizing they are a full person outside of work. It's not
Right.
severance, right? They don't walk in and like forget everything. Um, and sometimes, especially in, fields or positions where you might have some emotionally taxing days or some difficult days, that recovery, that balance, that trust amongst your team and your leadership makes such a big difference to the momentum that they continue to like display. So I think that's so amazing that you shared that. I will say that I I know that, you shared it's like family, and
Yes.
sometimes in all families, there is, it's necessary to hold family accountable as well.
Absolutely.
When it comes to accountability, what does, that balance between accountability and compassion look like for your leadership?
I am trying to be, I'm not trying to be, I am in the trenches with them on a daily level. I want them to know that I'm invested, rolling up my sleeves just like they are. I like to make sure that we have, meetings, communication, whether I'm out there with them on the floor or it's coming through the management, just engaging with them. What are you hearing? If we're what are consumers saying? There's so much going on within the world that obviously affects how consumers are handling their financial uh,
Mm,
obligations. So,
yes.
it can vary. So in order for us to know and have a pulse on what is going on, their feedback is important, because again, they're the front line for us. So,
Mm.
I pour into them as I want them to pour into me, as a leader, just because I'm learning just as they're learning. And if there's tools that we need to get them to help them do their jobs more effectively, more efficiently, I am open to always hearing that from them. And they know that. They know that, I have an open door policy for all of the team.
That I having clear communication for all the teams I work with, that is the number one. That's where breakdowns happen if you don't have it, right? That's where the silos start to happen. And so keeping the door open and having those conversations, it's really inspiring because I think that, differing size of organizations, but even even in smaller organizations, you don't always have access to the CEO, and I think both and just kind of logistically there might not always be there, but I think also sometimes there's a mentality of separation that really creates a divide. It creates like I don't know, like kind of like a funnel of information, and it doesn't always get to the right ears or places that it should. And so I think it's really amazing that you are like intentional about that. I know that, it's been 6 years since you've been CEO, right?
Yes.
Um,
Will be
over
six
the
years
okay.
in August. Sorry, I'm going by months here, but yes.
I wanted to know in the 6-year span, how would you say your leadership has changed from day one in your role until today?
Leaps and bounds, it's changed. I was the director of administrative accounting. I was on the HR side. I was always a part of the daily operations, but not the full scope. So when I moved into the CEO role, that was it was very different,
Yeah.
because again, then it becomes your vision. You're making the high level decisions. You're taking information from your team, gathering your facts, and then from there you've got to make the final decision. And knowing that those decisions will impact, my employees, but also impact my clients, impact, how we move forward with consumers. Just so many high level executive decisions that needed to be made. And um, it's been a growing process, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I show up every day wanting to learn. I learn a lot from our team. I lean in on them for their recommendations. And then once I have information I need, I can, move forward and trying to make sure I'm making the best decision for us to continue the path and to continue to help us grow.
Yeah. I, so, my background is in learning and development, and I've done that for many, many years. Like that, it is ingrained in me now. I feel like it is like, um, just like first nature, but I am fairly, early days in entrepreneurship. And so as I'm learning more and as I'm like expanding in new ways, some days I've realized like I don't know if I ever truly understood like courage. um and had to face doubt because the decisions rest on my shoulder, right? Like it is no longer like one piece of the pie, and I can go and kind of ask my team and ask and get buy-in and make sure it's the right decision and run it by 10 people. It's now just, it's weighted way different. And it feels different. And so I get inspired when I meet people who I know stepped into new roles and, had, like you said, it was a learning experience and that you're still enjoying it.
Yeah.
Because every day I'm like, it's a wild ride, but I'm loving it.
Yes, I agree, 100%, 100%. And I like what you said. It's just weighted different. I was always a part of the team, always in an executive position, but when you're the CEO, every decision is more valuable. And because that there's a team that's relying on you to make sure you're making the best decision for them too. So that to me is where it really is most impactful for me is just I think about, how will this be better? How will this make us all better? And that's how I try to lead. That's just the part of me that wants to keep learning and keep growing. I don't have it all figured out, but I do my best to just show up and learn with my team. Because a lot of those agents have been with us for a long time and they saw me step into this role. And
Mhm.
I appreciate them for standing by me. They could have said, yeah, we're not sure about this new CEO, even though they knew me, but just a different direction. And
Yes.
they were all excited to move this forward with me. And I'm just so grateful that, we've come a long way. So it's exciting.
That's really
And
special that they got to
yeah.
watch the progression too and
Yes,
be along for the journey and that you all were in it together. I think it bonds you
absolutely.
in a way that is almost like hard it's hard to describe, right? When
Sure.
you see it. And I like that you said like it's always a learning process. I don't know, there's never never a time where you're never going to stop learning. And I adopted the philosophy maybe about 3 years ago to just be it's like 1% better every day. And
Yeah.
I used to be, high achiever. It's like, okay, let's get here and like go fast and furious. And now I'm discovering like it's have you made even just a little progress every day? What did you learn? One thing that you learned, and how are you going to use it? And how did you get 1% better? And before you know it, you've already hit your milestones and your goals, and you're further than you thought you would be.
Yeah. And I love that. And I feel like I'm similar. I haven't made all the right decisions, but I've also learned that I'm not going to always make all the right decisions, and it's okay to fail, and it's okay to be like, oof, I should have done that one differently. But that's how you learn. And I'm a mom of four, and if anything, I'm learning that to me. For me, myself, to learn that is helping me build that into my kids,
Mhm.
with their life experiences, is just letting them know, look, okay, what did we learn from that, and how do we get better? Let's just not sit in it long enough to learn from it, and then we got to move on.
I think that's so powerful. And I'm gonna like ask more about this because one, I think we're just at a point in time that that's really needed. And maybe, maybe this is me projecting and maybe I just need this right now. So I'm like, give me a little bit more around that. But I think that like I know what you shared, I know it. It is like a thought that is it's known information to learn what you can from the failure, like continue to persevere. But I feel like now, especially with other generations coming in, there is a social public aspect to so much. That it used to be different when you're like you failed or like maybe you dropped the ball and five people knew about it and those five people were like, okay, well, let's get back up and do better. And I think it's very different now where I think just the reach of information sometimes and the ability to share things, it's faster, it can go further. I had a friend who, the Slack like chat that they had was the first thing that like everyone knew what somebody else did. And so, how would you like what advice would you give? And I know you just gave some great advice to someone that is maybe still feeling a little nervous about the perception of others, whether it's in like failing or success, because I feel like sometimes even the fear of like if I go for this and I fail, it's going to be really bad. So I rather just kind of
Yeah,
stay stagnant.
sure. Yeah, I understand exactly where you're at with that. And it is tough. It's so challenging. I don't know how I don't, I the next generation, or this generation that's growing up, and my kids are growing up in this social media presence, and
Yes.
to your point, the spotlight is so bright on so many levels. um it's I think you have to just really be true to yourself,
Mm.
and not it's hard to say, I don't, other people's opinions don't matter, but honestly, just showing up for yourself, and as long as you did your best, then that's all that matters. As long as you tried, as long as you gave it your commitment, your effort. And if it didn't work out, it didn't work out, but at least you tried. Now you move on to something else, right? That's just the way I've been doing things, is just show up. Just
Yeah.
show up and just give it everything you have, everything that
Yeah.
you can pour into it. And if it doesn't work, then that's okay. At least now that didn't work, and now you transition. I think life just comes at you and things happen, and it's about how you fall, but do you get back up, and how quickly can you get back up? We're all going to fall. We're all, human. And I think we just have to stay humble and know that it's okay if we fall. It's not gonna, it shouldn't feel like it's the end of the world, but sometimes I know it does, especially in this social media world that we live in. But you got to stay grounded. And I think staying grounded for me is also just staying grounded in your faith, and knowing that there's more, there's more out there than just, you know, the social media flair, right? That everybody lives in. And yeah. So I really just try and stay present in that. I'm not a, I'm on social media, but I'm not like on it, where everybody knows all my life agenda. I'm on it enough to know where, okay, I know where people are at, what thing,
Yeah.
any new things that are happening and checking in, and I, use LinkedIn and all the things I need to use. But um yeah, I know that it can be very consuming, and it almost to where it can consume a person or an individual, and that's the scary part. And so yeah, I would like to just share with people, like, we're all human. We all put on our pants the same way. We all feel, we all have, feelings. And I think being kind and just knowing that, you could be impacting somebody else in a good way goes a long way. So yeah, I just think that we need to just start seeing the human side of people, and not letting go of the human connections, because it's easy to do that in this time and age. And that's the sad and scary part, I think, for me, when I look at things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, first of all, that was an entire message. Like both, it gave me chills, and I feel like one, I asked the question for myself and for others, and I feel, I've just really been thinking about this a lot, and thinking about the human aspect of it and the connection between people, and how how I think it's so important that people maintain, like you said, be true to you, and I thought, I know it sounded so like simple, your words, but I was like, that is the answer for
Yeah.
so many things.
Mhm.
And I think getting really clear on what that means, right? And how to actually live by that and to keep yourself grounded, because
Yeah.
sometimes the world and all of these things want to tell you to fit into this norm or this box, and you have to define what that is for you and live it fully for you. And I've realized over the years, like the no's or the failures, honestly, like it takes some time. But when I look back, I think, thank God that door didn't open. That wasn't meant for
Yes.
me. Or like, thank God that happened that way. I wasn't supposed to be there. And it is so clear now, even though I like pouted in the moment or like, it was like, why? Why would you do this? Like, I
Yeah.
really want that. That's the path I envision. That's what I want. And every single time, I'm not even kidding. Like, to the point where now, if something doesn't go my way, I kind of I say like thank you God. I'm like, I don't know, but I know this will be fine.
Yes, you went before us. You got it all. You've already
Yes,
got the plan laid out. So we're
yes.
good. No,
Better than ever. Like better than
yes.
I could ever imagine or envision. And sometimes you take my thoughts into consideration and it works out
Yeah.
the way I want it to. And other times it works out better. So
Yeah.
I
No,
think that's really powerful.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it's just being your authentic self, right? And just knowing, the values that you have for yourself, and just trying to stay true to those, right? And know that, people are going to come in and they're going to push those boundaries, and they're going to see how they want to really see what they can, I don't want to say, what's the best way to say it? They're just trying to test,
Mm,
and you can do your best to just stay true to yourself. And it's not, again, won't always happen and maybe you feel like you didn't really show up for yourself that first time, but hey,
mm,
if you can sit back and look at it and be like,
yes.
okay, I didn't really handle that the way I wanted to, but next time I know how I'll do it differently, and I think it's just a lot of self-reflection and being accountable to yourself, is very important, because I think a lot of the society we're in, nobody wants to be accountable. They
Mm,
just think it's got to be something else's to blame for somebody else's. It's like, no, accountability is important. It's important for all of us, to have for ourselves, and how we authoritate ourselves and how we handle ourselves individually, being accountable. I mean, I think accountability as a person, because then it helps you be accountable to yourself, to your family, to your employer. And I think that's a little bit of what's being lost. And I don't know if it's the social media presence, but I think some of that is kind of going away, because you can kind of hide behind things with the social media. So to me, that's why I feel like accountability and taking accountability is very important as for a person, on an
Yes.
individual level. Mhm.
I feel like if you had asked me, like, if I had thought in that moment about this question, I don't think I would have said accountability. But as soon as you said it, it was like an aha, because
Mhm.
I really think accountability individually, it's your power.
Right.
You get to claim power over your decisions and your experiences and how you choose to navigate forward. And so I feel like when someone's not accountable for their actions or their choices and they kind of put the blame, you give away so much of your power to other people. And I think you got to bring that back to you. You have to know that you get to use that and make new decisions from it.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. Yes. Yeah. Definitely. It's being accountable for yourself. And that's how we grow and that's how we learn. By just continuing to show up for ourselves, which allows us to show up for other people. And if we fall, we fall. It's just get back up and give it another go.
And I think whether faith or family or the sources that really can help ground someone, right? Or just even just alone, quiet time, like you said, that self awareness to think, it's so needed in whatever way I feel like is right for an individual. And, we live in a like instant gratification, faster,
Yeah.
more, more, more. We're always given tools that are supposed to like give us more time back, but we never really get more time back. It
Right.
just continues to pick up the pace. And so I really like that you said for you, your faith is part of it, but also that self-reflection piece. If there's like one thing I think every person should take away, it's how powerful 15 minutes of time with just your own self and your own thoughts, whether it's you driving in the car and like actively like thinking or writing down your thoughts, journaling, just recapping your day or starting your day, I think it changes everything. It really allows you to like dictate where do you want to go next instead of just living in the like a zombie, right? Like, okay, the next
Well,
day
or living
happens
in
and
the
here's my
other
to do.
realm of things, right?
Yes.
It's just living in somebody else's world because you're looking at their
Yeah.
stories and looking at their the reality shows, all these different
Yes.
outlets that we have access to that our next generation is growing up on. Um, to your point, the self-reflection or just the moment of gratitude, before you start your day or at the end of the night, just to be grateful that you get to, you know, um, that you get to sleep or that you get to wake up and that you get to have your health. And, there's so many different things that people are going through in this world. So, just be grateful for even the small things that
Mm.
you've been given. Don't take those for granted, right? That's the way I try and live my life. And I try and teach, the people that, that are around me and that surround me, to have the same mindset. Because and again, this is going to kind of pour back into, my team of employees who know, the people on the other side of the phone are going through something or they went through something. Let them explain what they went through so that so you can understand how to help them move forward. It may not be that month, it may not be that in the 6 months, it might be another year, but at least make it where they feel they can have some type of communication with you. And the same goes for, my team. The same goes for my children, just making sure that they're aware. It's okay to look in the mirror. It's not pretty all the time, but we got to all do it. When we do
Yeah.
it's impactful.
Yeah, it is not always pretty, but it's needed. Yeah.
It's needed, but like yourself when you look in the mirror, that's what helps, right? Because
Yeah.
the more you can do it, then the more you can be like, okay, I'm starting to like what I see. Or sometimes you might be like, no, I'm not feeling good. And that's okay too. But just sit,
Yeah.
just having that self-awareness or reflection, like what you were saying as well. I think.
And when you start doing it more often, maybe this just could be me. Like I can actually see, like some days I'm like, we're feeling this way, but our feelings are not valid for like the level of intensity that we gave it. Like you've been under a lot of stress. It's okay. You're gonna sleep, and tomorrow will be a little bit different. Um, Sometimes it's just like the day you spilled your coffee, and then something else happened, and something else happened, and you get to the end of the day, and you're just so overwhelmed. But I feel like when you take stock of every day, you realize how
Yeah,
good it is, and how like the rainy days, you're like you said earlier, we were talking about the weather, and you're like, yeah, it's raining and the sun's out now, and I think that just
yeah,
happens in life, and um,
definitely.
there's a lot of I think things that you shared today that are so clear that you are an amazing leader and have an incredible organization, and I know that your journey has come with a lot of learning pieces that you shared. And as a woman leading a traditionally male dominated industry, how has that shaped how you lead or the pressure that maybe you've felt?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was, I think I would start by saying just knowing I belong there, right?
Mhm.
Again, just having the confidence. Um, what you were just sharing about just, thinking about the taking account for the day. Me, is looking back at the 6 years. Every day I show up and I do the things that need to be done to make the decisions and to move us forward. But what you asked in the beginning was, are you a different leader? I'm not really,
Yeah.
from when you first started to where you are now. And I would say, wow, I now can look back and say, yeah, okay, I'm here now. I've learned so much.
Yeah.
I've grown. I belong here.
Mm.
But
Mm.
sometimes when you're in it and you're just in the daily, in it, thick of it, you don't see. So you do got to look back. You
Mhm.
do got to, you want to always look forward, but you got to turn around and say, wow, I climbed that and I
Yeah.
keep climbing. So when you need that extra push, just remember, okay, well, I did that, but now I'm doing this, or I learned from that. And so now I'm here. And just give yourself that pat on the back because sometimes you're not going to get it from whoever you're expecting it from. You got to give it to yourself. So yeah, just know you belong. And remember where you come from and know that all of that got you to where you are. So yeah, I think that's important.
Yeah, I think some of those, I mean, I feel like I've talked to executives and leaders, and I'm not recorded on a podcast, but they have shared that they still sometimes don't feel like they belong.
Right.
And, it's interesting to see people, even in positions of power, that still have moments where they don't feel it. And how important I think both to how people experience you as a leader, but also how you experience your leadership. And I feel like for a lot of leadership conversations, it is so often like how you like the skills that you show to others, learning, coaching, adding tools to your toolbox,
Right.
and not enough about like looking at who the leader is and how they're maintaining their own self, and and what's going on inside of them, and establishing that confidence to know that, hey, I have a voice at this table. I know what I'm talking about. I'm here. And what I'm seeing now is for a lot of leaders, and maybe this is the wave of AI coming too, but knowledge was power. Like the more somebody knew, they're like, I need to know all of this. I need to know everything, and then I'll feel confident. And I'm like, well, you could just feel confident and as you're learning things. Um, so knowledge used to be power, and now I'm really feeling like power is adaptability. The
Absolutely.
faster you can adapt, the more you can adapt to, which echoed so much of what you shared. Being able to learn as you go, and sometimes the adaptability is like internally regulating yourself to be like, I got this, I'm here,
Yeah.
we can do this.
You got to be coachable to ourselves.
Yes.
Let's be coachable.
Yeah.
To your point, because nobody has it all figured out. And if they say they do, wow, that's great. I just personally feel like I never say I have it figured out. My team knows that I'm very vulnerable with them when I say I don't have an answer, but you know what? I'm gonna work on that. I'm gonna learn, or I'm gonna go to my tools in my toolbox or my resources, and we're gonna figure this out. I think that's important. If you can just be honest and real, more people will be honest and real with you. And if you have that persona of you having it all figured out, then that's okay. It's harder to um, it's harder for people to engage or be transparent. And I don't know, I guess again, being a mom of four, I'm just like, okay, if you needed something, raise the hand so we can help. How you have a support team. Like
Yes.
let us know when you need some help. And I work really hard to practice what I'm trying to teach my family unit and my team members at PRG. So yeah, it's important. I'm not trying to just say these things. It's something that I've actually had to learn and go through and experience to feel confident enough to say, yeah, these things do work. Being vulnerable, being honest, not having it all figured out as a CEO, that's okay.
Yeah.
We're still going to be here. We're still going to make it.
I think the integrity in everything you shared is it's felt. It's
Yeah.
felt from the experience. There's nothing that you shared today where I thought, oh, that sounds good, but like,
Yeah.
was it lived? I feel like everything you've shared comes from lived experience. And I think that's the beauty of it, is that it resonates deeper because it's so true.
Yeah. Thank
You know, it,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
And you kind of shared this, but if there's only one lesson that today you wish you had known 20 plus years ago, when you started, and you all were together and you said, let's start this new venture, what piece of advice, only one piece, would you give yourself?
Learn more
Okay.
from the start.
Yeah.
I guess I'll just always say, yeah, every day, keep
Yeah.
learning. I don't know if I did that at the very beginning. I was able, I sat in the room, in that conference room, I learned, but I wasn't immersing, into it and learning as much as I could have. So I would definitely say, keep on learning and growing.
One of my favorite quotes is an investment in knowledge pays the greatest dividends. And I
Mhm.
think it's so true. Like you never know, you might learn something and you think, I'm never going to use this. And then like
Yeah.
2 years later, an opportunity knocks and you need it.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Yeah. And I think, just, be open,
Yeah.
you never know, like you said, I kind of took for granted the role I was in,
Mhm.
and I stayed in that role, right?
Mhm.
So I again, that's why I say learn more, is branch out, give yourself, see higher for yourself. And that's probably the one thing I would have told myself 20 years ago is, okay, like keep on, don't just stay in the lane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's okay to weave in and out of the lane just so you
Yeah.
can, be more resourceful and continue to grow. Sometimes we can get complacent. So I wish I would have back then known, oh, had I known I was going to end up here, I would have invested more and taken more time to learn more. But that's okay. Things happen the way they happen. And,
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the experience.
The gratitude, I think, it's that learning piece. You learned a
Yeah.
lot and it
Yeah.
brought you to where you're supposed to be. And I know we went back in time to what you could tell yourself, but
Yeah.
if we were to flash forward 20 years, the dream that's ahead, what do you envision for both yourself and for Phoenix Recovery Group?
Wow. I envision us to still be successful, to still be there. For us to, I hope my agents are still with me.
Yeah.
But yeah, just to still be growing, still
Yeah.
to be the close to 5-star collection agency, which is not very known.
That's incredible.
Um,
Yeah.
but you know, we have that empathy with everyone, within ourselves, within our team, and to whoever we come in contact with. So I hope that it continues, that we just continue to show compassion to each other and to their families and to the people that they're interacting with. Mhm.
That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. And I hope I'm gonna wish that for the world and for everyone, right? I think that
Yeah.
that just could go such a far way, the way that we interact with people, the way that we connect with humanity and
Yeah.
um experience, the diversity of others and get to enjoy what we can gain from it as we talk and share. I have really this has been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. I've enjoyed it. This was fun.
Um,
Uh,
I will definitely tag Phoenix Recovery Group so that if anyone is interested in going to your website, they
sure.
can.
Okay.
And I just want to say truly thank you for being here and for sharing with all the Gathered Glow listeners. But also, it is clear, like I really do feel that your impact, and I'm sure you know, it ripples, right? There's a ripple through everything you do, not only in your family, but also your agents and the people that they touch, and then the lives that those people touch. I think that there is definitely a ripple effect, and I'm excited and I'm
Oh,
very happy.
thank you.
Um,
I appreciate it. That's very sweet.
yeah,
Thank you. I appreciate I had so much fun. Thank you for making this a safe space to be open and just really share my story. I really appreciate what you're doing, Jackie. It's sweet.
thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're doing
Vennesa
great.
Gamboa, I am inspired. I'm excited. I hope one day we could look back and jump on another call and I have
Absolutely.
updates and we can share and
Yes,
go even deeper. So
absolutely.
thank
I would
you.
love that. Yes, thank you.
Gathered Glow listeners, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. There will be a link below if you would like more information, and I will see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.